Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're at a new arena high venue to dive into a session focused on refining some core principles, using my leg before my hand and keeping PABs in front of my leg and straight over a mini jump course. These are fundamental skills, but as I've learned, practicing them consistently and building confidence in them takes time and persistence. I'll also be sharing some of the mental side of training, trusting my leg, reinforcing my belief in my own skills, and learning to stay calm and present. So, let's jump in. My goal for today was simple yet challenging, to focus on using my leg before my hand and to keep PABs in front of my leg at all times. We set up a course of 6 to 7 jumps, mostly around 90 to a metre, including a few different lines like a 2-stride combination and a 5-stride line, with a mix of verticals and an oxer. Jumping bigger fences was not the focus here today. I wanted to practice our skills within our comfort zone. Putting the skills into play would be challenging enough. I wanted to concentrate on keeping a smooth, balanced canter and making sure I maintain control without relying on my hands. It's all about building that habit of trusting my leg to create the energy and rhythm, rather than defaulting to my hands to control everything. I started out with some basic canter work over poles and a cross rail to warm up and get the feel of the rhythm and the forwardness. Right away I worked on my position, really focusing on keeping PABs in front of my leg while resisting that old habit of going to my hand for control. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. And yes, there was a stop. I checked PABs 1 stride before the jump in, which gave us an awkward jump over the vertical, making PABs lose his momentum. That right hand came into play again, and I checked this time 2 strides out from the oxer, leading to the stop. There were moments when PABs wanted to pull me towards my hands, but I stayed patient, engaging my leg to keep the forward momentum. I could feel when I got it right, PABs would just flow, staying balanced and adjustable. I also experimented with adjusting my stirrups slightly longer to help me wrap my legs around PABs more effectively. The difference was subtle but helpful, giving me more leverage to guide him forward and laterally without always needing my hands. Sometimes you just have to make the decision to go to the safety circle to get the canter and PABs focused on the job.
Oh yes. Bit rough by the rider there, giving him a bit of stick, but it achieved what it needed to achieve. So it's taken this long to come back to settle after that. But, early takeoff there. Well done. It's looking a bit flustered here. How long is he going to take to just settle? Nice. Nice. Surprisingly. Oh, no, he's off.
Now, one of the biggest challenges for me here was the mental aspect. Learning to trust my leg as a primary driver and letting go of that instinct to grab my hands for control. Honestly, this session was so much about building confidence in my own skill as it was about working with PABs. It's easy to feel like you're relying too much on your hands when things get tricky, and that can spiral into doubt. Am I really skilled enough to handle this just with my legs? This session was really all about proving to myself that yes, I can. Once we warmed up, we took on the course with the intention to ride each line, using my legs as the primary aid, keeping PABs forward and in front of me and making sure he stayed straight. By the time we got to the 5-stride line, I was feeling much more in sync. I could actually feel PABs listening for my legs, and it was such a great feeling to have that connection without relying on my hands for balance or direction. We finished the line with a nice forward canter, and he stayed in front of my leg right up to the oxer at the end. I think one of the big takeaways here is how important it is to believe in your own ability to influence your horse with subtle aids. When I trust my legs, PABs trust them too, and it creates this kind of harmony where everything flows more naturally. One thing that really helped me was remembering to relax after each jump and not let tension creep back into my hands. That's something I noticed a lot today. The moment I tensed up, Pabs would pick up on it and start bracing. But when I relaxed and trusted my legs, he stayed much softer and more responsive. For example, in the two-stride line, my job was to keep a steady rhythm into the first jump and then just let my legs guide Pabs towards the next one without any major corrections from my hands. The first couple of tries, I caught myself reaching for my hand a bit, but stayed focused, and soon Pabs started to respond just to my legs. The first attempt over the wall was a bit sticky. We lost the canter through the turn, and Pabs lost impulsion as he was not in front of my leg. The second attempt was much better. So here are some takeaways. Use your legs to set the pace. Start with some simple canter poles at a cross rail. Focus on creating the rhythm with your legs and holding yourself accountable to not fall back on your hands. Stay mentally present. It's easy to let self-doubt creep in when you're practicing something new, but remember, it's a process. Trust that your legs can communicate what your hands often want to. The more you practice this, the more seamless it'll become. Importantly, reward your horse. When your horse responds to your legs rather than your hands, reward them by relaxing. Release any tension, give him a pat, and let them know that they're doing the right thing. This builds their confidence too. And lastly, focus on the feeling of flow. When it feels right, take a moment to acknowledge it. I need to remember that feeling of Pabs moving forward without any tension. That's what I want to replicate, even if I'm not getting it every time just yet. And that's that. Thanks for joining us in today's session. Working on leg before hand is definitely a journey, but it's all about building a system where Pabs and I can trust each other more and stay connected with minimal aids. Every ride, every repetition builds up that belief in our skills. Until next time, keep riding forward, keep trusting your skills and stay connected with your horse. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.